All right, Calvinism is biblical says,
Oh,
did Jesus' spirit after he died return to the hands of the Father in heaven according to Luke 23:46, or did his spirit descend into hell? Romans 10:7.
yeah, I understand what he's saying. Inter ans I commit my spirit doesn't necessarily mean that a spirit is leaving and returning back to the Father. It's simply an idiomatic way of saying that the Lord Jesus is entrusting himself to the Father. Now, what does the Father do with his spirit from that point on? Well, that's the question. So, inter ans I commit my spirit. How do you know that when he says that, that it wasn't the Father's decree for him then to descend into Hades? So I think how do I say this? The way you're reading it is like, okay, my spirit leaves, goes to, no, enter means I'm entrusting myself to you, Father. I'm entrusting myself to you. So from this moment on, where does Jesus go? Well, the text doesn't say one way or another. A stronger point for you isn't Luke 23:46. The stronger one would be Luke 23:43, where he says to the criminal, truly I say to you, today you shall be with me in paradise. That's a stronger case. If you want to argue, well, that he went straight to paradise, and that's in the third heaven. No, I say third heaven because in 2 Corinthians 12, verses 2 to 4, there Paul talks about, I know a man, whether in the body or out of the body, that I don't know. But 14 years earlier, he was caught up to the third heaven, and then he says, to the paradise of God. So someone can say that the paradise of God is in the third heaven. 2 Corinthians 12, verses 2 to 4. And by the way, side note, here you see the biblical basis for out-of-body experiences. So Paul says, whether in the body or out of the body, I do not know. So here you have at least a biblical basis that people can leave their bodies and return. So there, third heaven, paradise seems to be equated, that paradise is in the third heaven. So Luke 23:43, you have a stronger shot as using that to show that Jesus went to heaven, but at the same time, that doesn't follow, because if Jesus as God is omnipresent, there's a sense in which he can send the criminal directly into paradise by his grace, because Christ fills heaven and earth, while his human spirit descends to the underworld in order to proclaim victory and then take the souls of the departed dead, those who died in faith, who are what we call in Abraham's bosom, resting but awaiting for the Messiah to bring them into God's heavenly presence, that his human spirit went there, took them into heaven. That's if you believe how the early church understood specific passages from the New Testament. For example, how they understood Ephesians 4, 8 to 10, particularly verse 10, or 1 Peter 3, verses 18 to 19, as well as Acts chapter 2, if you start reading from Acts chapter 2, 25 all the way to 32, where it says that his soul was not abandoned to Hades, or Sheol, which many took to mean that his human soul went to the netherworld, the underworld, Abraham's bosom.